So, this is a series of videos I want to get going about, I guess you could say story times, some of them. I really think this YouTube channel should be a lot. I, I get myself in anonymity for quite some time on actually the internet and everything. But I recently started thinking that the internet was a place for people to share what what are they. So that's the reason why I think that everyone has a story to tell, you know? And that's why I decided to start this series. So yeah, as you can see on the title, I'm going to be talking about the time when I used to hmm I I don't want to say that I used to use drugs because as of today, I'm not entirely sure myself what was I consuming. But let me give you some background as to how all that happened. You see, I'm English is not my native language. I learned this language from when I was back in USA. I don't live there anymore, but yeah, there was a point in my life that I was living in the USA. I was going to elementary school and everything. Okay, so that's the background. I used to be there, and for reasons of life that I could tell later in another story, I moved back to Mexico, and by that, I was going to enter. No, actually, my middle school has was already started by the time that I came back to Mexico. And when that happened, everyone was already at schools. Summer, or I think was Christmas vacations, was over. I'm not entirely sure how they handle it in America. But yeah, everyone was already at school, and I was not at school. So I entered this school where everyone had already friends. They had the groups already settled. So I guess you could say I was kind of an outcast. And the issue was that living in America kind of dimmed down my Spanish. So I couldn't speak Spanish very fluent. As a matter of fact, when I entered that school, I couldn't understand most of my classmates and teachers. I knew that they were talking Spanish, but I couldn't understand the words that they were using. I speak Spanish with my family, but it was almost always the same words, you know. I didn't change my vocabulary that often. So when I was there, I had some issues with the teachers, with the assignments, since I couldn't understand what was on the fucking papers and what they were telling me. I knew that they were for me because I could understand some words about that. But yeah, you got this background. I didn't talk to a lot of people. As a matter of fact, when I tried to talk, I'm not an outcast. I'm not someone that's gonna stay off off the groups. I always try to join the groups. So, to have something to do, for any other reason. So I'm a person that's always going to try to fit into the group. Just to talk, to hang out with people. So when I was trying to join, I was constantly trying to join the conversations that they were having. But it got to a point where I started getting in trouble with my teachers because of the assignments. So of course, I was fucking killing it in English class. Everyone fucking wanted my help for that. So yeah, what I was doing right there, you got this background. I don't talk to a lot of people, and then by second year, I think I met this girl who didn't talk at all. And long story short, we turned to a couple, boyfriend and girlfriend, for the rest of middle school. And at some point, when we were going into high school, we broke up. I guess you could say it that way. We broke up, and then I was what, perhaps 16, 17, maybe. I was a teenager still, and I just still adding this issues, this language barrier, and having that person. She was the only person I talked to for obvious reasons. She didn't understand very well sometimes what I was saying, and that's the thing. I was communicating with her through 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 letters, not text, because I didn't have a phone at the time. S I write down what I was trying to say, and she would just translate it sometimes. Sometimes I tried to write in Spanish as well, but she would translate that and then write it back, write something else, and then give it to me. That's the way we were communicating. So yeah, I went into we broke up, and the day I went to high school. I was doing exams for going into high school, and at that time I wasn't feeling like myself. I started to notice that I was behaving other sorts of ways. Stuff that I used to do was no longer entertaining. It cost me a lot of energy to get out of bed every day to go to school. And when I never wanted to say I'm depressed, because I'm think that that's something that a medic should say, but I never went to one. So when people, my classmates, most of my classmates in high school were very cool, were very nice to me, and I still remember them. I don't talk to them, but I keep them in my memory very well. And they were worried about me a lot. They would constantly ask me, because I used to fall asleep on the classes. Well, not fall asleep, I was just not putting attention. I was just looking at the ceiling, doing something else. I don't know why, but I just couldn't keep my mind centered on what was important. And then I started feeling like I I want to die. I don't understand why I was feeling that way, but inside of me, I wanted to kill myself. I don't know why. And by that moment, I was very, I guess you could say, low energy. Because when I went into high school, I was playing sports. I was hanging out more with my classmates, and I think that's the why they start noticing that, because as soon as I enter high school, I was this cheer up guy, just trying to fit in, to have make some friends, and suddenly they saw me all dimmed down and they were like, "What's going on with this guy? That's not the way we met him." So I think that's why they notice that weird change in my behavior. Okay, so I used to play a lot of sports and with upper classmen, and they started worrying about me too. Like, what's you haven't played? They would say stuff like, "Hey, how's it going?" You haven't played basketball with us for some time because I love basketball. I love playing that sport. You haven't played with us in some time, and well, I just kind of used to wander around high school. Walk around here, walk around there, just in my own world. And I met a guy in the stairways, in the stairs, if you call it that way. That school had like 3 floors, so I met some guy at the stairs, and damn, that guy. I don't want to say he was my friend. It was someone that I just knew existed, and that guy saw me all moody and sad, and he offered me uh, uh this. It seemed like a pill, like a normal pill, and he said that this pill would make me feel sleepier, and that's what it did. I didn't knew, and I don't know right now what did I take or what did I start taking, but so I drank with water the pill that he gave me, and I started feeling better. Yeah, I started feeling better, and days a couple days go by, and he gives me another. I take it, I consume it, and I feel better. I start feeling a lot better. But all of a sudden, he disappears, and now I just feel extra extra sad, and by that moment I wasn't getting out of classroom at all for recess, lunch, hanging out with my classmates. I just stayed in my desk, just like a zombie, just with my head set against my desk, just looking at the floor, and yeah, that's I was weird, that feeling. And like I said, I'm not sure what the fuck was that he gave me, but that's how did I grew out of that. You guys might want to know. Okay, so what happened then after he disappeared? What happened? Well, what happened there is a series of events that require the whole story apart. I wouldn't want to summarize what continues. They deserve their own story as well. So, conclusions for this. Well, since this is just a part of the full story, I don't have any conclusions for now. What I could say is don't take pills from strangers for now. That's the conclusion that I could say. And talk to people about how you're feeling. Now, would I say that all of this happened because of my language barrier? Probably. Have I grew out of that language barrier? Yes, I have. Thanks to teachers, thanks to friends who taught me since I was teaching them English. They taught me Spanish, some of them. Can I speak Spanish now fluently? Pues, a huevo que sí. Ya llevaré unos muchos años ya viviendo aquí en México. Gracias a Dios ya hablo español muy bien. So that was that story for today. Maybe tomorrow I would upload the other part. I hope you guys enjoyed this little story. It hasn't ended yet. You could say that this is just part one of the whole story. Hopefully you guys will catch up to the other part. My name was Hen, Hentanol, whatever you guys want to call me. I wish you guys a very good day and stay safe.